Hi, my name is Cece. I'm the owner of Ecila and Co. You can find me on TikTok and on Instagram, and it's spelled Ecila Andco. I think shortly you'll find out, but the reason that I even started the business was because of my mother passing away. So
Mm,
I ended up using my mom's name, but spelling it backwards. My mom's name is Alicia, but everybody
mhm,
called her Alice. So it's Alice spelled backwards and then and company because
mhm.
I'm like her company.
Right.
So I named it Isela and Co.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So that's how the name kind of just it just fell into my lap and I was like, I don't know, I like this. It has like a little ring to it. Nobody can pronounce it. I have such a hard time with people like, "Oh, how do you spell that? How do you say that?" But so it's one of those things that sometimes I'm like, ah, maybe I should have picked something different. But at that moment, it was like it just hit home, and I was like, okay, like this is what I need to start
Okay,
with.
say it again so I could practice saying it.
Isela and Co.
Oh, Isela and Co. Okay,
Yeah.
I think initially when I first read it, I was like, tongue twister, here we go, because I thought it was just one word, and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Oh, I see. I see. No, no, no. I guess technically it's three words. Isela and Co.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
Tiffany and Co.
Okay, so tell me exactly about what you do for your business.
So I provide decoration services for any type of event. We do like birthday parties, weddings, baby showers, engagements. We also have a part of the business that's like for corporate events, expos, Las people there's a lot of conventions that people come to Las Vegas for, and when they set up like booths or um little areas where they do like pop-up tents and stuff like that, they want their booths to be decorated. So we come
Mhm.
out for that and we decorate their booths, or like we have shimmer walls, we have backdrops, we have flower walls as well. So we primarily do balloons, but we have a lot of different services that we provide so we can kind of deck out any type of party.
Okay, so tell me how it is from when a client first contacts you.
So usually I'm either contacted through Instagram because I have a doc where you can click the link in my bio and it'll take you to this document where you just fill out your inquiry, like basically the services that you're looking for, what day, the time, the location, if you have a theme in mind or any colors, your budget. And then I take all that information and will email or reply with what kind of services like we can provide, or if we're available that day, stuff like that. Sometimes I get just like random text messages that because like I've been referred through somebody else. So sometimes
Mhm.
I'm just like, oh, somebody will text me and be like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hi." Like,
Hi, who are
I,
you?
hi, I don't know who this is, but how can I help you? Or sometimes I'm like,
Right.
I don't know like which side it is, but I think that's like primarily the way that I get contacted the most, by text messages or by Instagram.
Do you typically draw out or do like a little sketch up of what the clients want?
I will do a mock-up design of what they're looking for after I receive a deposit. And that's it's only because like sometimes we've had those bad apples where like you sit and talk to them for like days at a time sometimes, and
Mhm.
they give you all these details about what they want and what they want it to look like, and you're like, okay, okay, I can make it look like this, and they're like, no, but I want that on the left side, so you switch things, and no, but this and that, like you're stuck making all these different variations and you're spending a
Mhm.
lot of time with them, and then at the end of it they're like, oh, um never mind, I don't want it anymore. Or they'll take the mock-up and they'll give it to a different artist, and they'll be like, oh, well, this person said they could do that for cheaper, so they'll go with somebody else, and you're like, but that was like my but that was like my
Your
design.
design. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that kind of sucks because not everybody is like that, but once that's happened to you a couple of times, it's like, oh, okay, like we can't just be like giving these mock-ups out like just because. So it's like once I know you're
Mhm.
committed to it and you put down a deposit, and I know what balloons you want, I know the colors, I know the theme, I know like if you want a backdrop and stuff like that, then I will design it and send it to them for them to approve and just make sure like that they're happy with what it's going to look like because we're pretty good with replicating what we put on the design.
Oh, okay, so are they, like, hand sketched, or do you use, like, some sort of, like, CAD program?
So I actually use Canva. I love Canva. I'm obsessed with Canva. And I use that for many things. Like you can use that for your marketing information to make your business cards. And for me, I like to use that primarily for my mock-ups. It's really easy for me to kind of come up with a design, and it's easy to put it
Mhm.
all in one place and then show it to the client and for them to go like, "Oh yeah, I do like that," or "Oh, can we make a change to this?" And then I can go right back in and just edit it. Depending if they want like backdrops or anything like that, like we have to put those out first. And then if they want balloons, like we have to add the images of the balloons to the backdrop. Sometimes they'll want like signage or like vinyl on the panel. So we have to like come up with a design of how we're gonna put like the wording on it and where we're gonna put it. Forget what they call like cutouts where it's like different graphics that are like standing or they're like around the
Mhm.
balloons, stuff like that. So there's multiple layers to it. There's depending on what the client wants, like we have to kind of go in and adjust it. It's not just like a one and done kind of thing. It's like multiple little pieces that we have to put together. It's like a puzzle. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I love your work. I'm looking at all of your balloon designs, and they're very detailed.
Thank you.
Especially how you said whenever you make the mock-up design, I saw one of your sketches, and yeah, it looks like a carbon copy of what you actually do.
Yeah, I think just with timing and doing it over and over again, I think you kind of get a feeling of what the shape of the balloons and how they sit with on each other and how they compress. So when you're going to make the image or like when I'm doing the initial image in the mock-up for the client, I can kind of picture like, oh, okay, if I blow up this balloon like this, like it's gonna look like this. And then I can kind of lay it out the same like once it's actually being built in person, so it comes out looking like very similar. It might not be like 100% spot on because balloons are balloons, they're different shapes and stuff, but it comes out more or less like in the same pathway that we set it up to be.
So how is it? Do you get to, like, stay and set up at the party? So do you just set up and break down, or do you stay? How does that work?
I have had I've had like invitations to clients events. Like most of the time we will arrive before the party, so like nobody's there. Maybe it's just like the client who's like getting the place like opened, or they're like getting ready for the party. So most of the time like there's nobody there, it's just us and the client, and they'll tell us like where they want the things placed. We'll start setting up, we make sure everything is good to go before we leave, and once they like they give us a thumbs up, we'll head out. Sometimes they're just like, oh, like we just made a lot of food, like please have a plate. Like I'm very blessed with my clients, like they're so sweet, and they most of the time they do not let me leave like empty handed, even if it's just like, oh, here's a bottle of water or something. Like they're always so like generous. And I don't think I have been able to stay for any clients' events unless maybe they were like a family member. But most of the
Mhm.
time it's either like I have another event right after them, so
Oh,
I have to
wow.
go.
So you
um
stay pretty booked and busy.
yeah, I think God, I think one day we probably did like I want to say 4 or 5 events like in one day, and it was insanity. I don't know how we got through that weekend, but we did, and it was amazing, but it was insane. It was just kind of like, wow, like when you got to get up and work, like you got to get up and go, like you can't just oh, I don't feel like it. Like, nope, there is no, I don't feel like it. There's a contract. These people have paid their dues. And like, if we do come back for cleanup too. So whenever we're done with the event, like, we'll have their ending time. They'll be like, oh, the party's over at 9. You can come back at 9 and clean up. So we'll be back at that time, tear it all down, and then head home. But I think one of the best ones that I have done, it was like really fun for me to do, was this Barbie display. And I did it for when the Barbie movie came out last summer. And I still have a bunch of photos and videos that I've never even posted it. But I'm so in love with it that I'm every now and then I'm like, oh, I should post that. Oh, I should get back to that. Oh, I should like just just post it. But I don't get around to posting it, which sucks because nobody, not many people have been able to see it.
Yeah, I didn't see the Barbie one.
Mm-mm. That's I'm telling you, and that's what sucks because it's like
You're gatekeeping.
I'm gatekeeping myself. Isn't that some crazy stuff?
Yes, and
I'm
Barbie was like a big trendy thing when the movie came out.
Oh, it was hot, girl. It was hot.
If it's the Barbie theme, are you wearing pink?
I might. I might. So for this event, I did. I think no, I think I was wearing pink. And then I think when I was building it, I had some I had some like sneakers on, and then as soon as we finished, I changed into some like high heel pink shoes because I wanted to take pictures with the display that we had done.
Okay, well, I will be looking forward to your Barbie post.
Now I have to post it. I'm just gonna
Yes,
like
yes. And
I'm
now
not
you
gonna
have
go to
to share
sleep
with
until I
us
post it.
your favorite set. So why balloons?
It's so strange. It almost came to me without me really like going to look for it so much. It was one of those things that kind of just fell into my lap. Um,
Mhm.
I was I started off doing um, selling cups on Etsy. I would get like Starbucks cups and like personalize them and then sell them. And I liked it because it was, I was doing it from the comfort of my home, and it was like easy for me to just ship things out, and I didn't really have to worry about like keeping too much inventory or stock. I would just make it as it came.
Mhm.
But I also for some reason felt like the need that like I needed to expand to do something else. Like I felt like there was a creativeness that I was missing, and even though like it was fun getting to do the cups and create them, like I don't know, I needed like something else to like drive me creatively. Um and I wasn't really sure what it was going to be, but I kept my eye out for things, and it wasn't until after my mom passed away and I was working on cups, and I was like, this is cool, and like I like this, but like I think I probably personally felt like it wasn't enough to distract me because I'm a little bit of like a workaholic where
Mhm.
when I'm dealing with certain emotions, I just drown them out with work. Like I make myself so busy that I don't think about anything else but work. And it's horrible. And I'm not that way anymore, but it was really hard for me at first. And I just kept myself busy. And there was one night where I had this dream where I was sitting in my living room on the floor, and I just remember seeing like this little pink pump, which is like what I still have today to blow up balloons. And I was just sitting on the floor in my living room blowing up balloons. And then I like look over to my side, and it's my mom. And my mom is like sitting on the floor with me blowing up balloons, and she's just like laughing. I don't it was such a joyful feeling of like seeing her and seeing her happy and laughing, and we were just blowing up balloons. It was like I took it as a sign or something, or like
Mhm.
it just made sense at that moment when it happened that this is for you, this is what you need to do, or like this is what you should be doing. I took it for what it was. The next morning I woke up and I was like, all right, that's it, I'm starting a balloon business. Like I don't know what
Whew.
the hell I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm just figure it out, order some balloons, and just start posting. Slowly, surely enough, like it. I started like doing friends and family events. I started getting my own clients, and it took off in a way that I never expected. It was all because of that dream.
Wow, that gave me goosebumps. Oh my goodness. So what
Yeah.
how long has it been since your mom passed?
My mom passed in December of 2020. So it's
So
been,
recently.
yeah, so it's been throughout 3 years. We would be going 4 years this year in December.
Were you close with your mom?
Yeah, yeah, she was like my best friend.
How do you think she would feel, or how do you think she would be if she was still here with your balloon business?
Oh, she would do it with me. I I don't even think that like I would be the one running it. I think it would be her.
Yeah, is she a super crafty person?
Incredibly crafty. She like knitting, doing things like with florals, like floral arrangements. And like every time it was somebody's like birthday party, she was the one who wanted to be like, oh, like let me, like decorate, or like she'd go get streamers or like balloons, or like the way that like DIY people like decorate, because back in the
Mhm.
day we weren't like professional event decor people or anything like that. But she would make like what are they called? They're called recuerdos, where like
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of the English word for them. It's basically like when you go to a party and you get like a little gift from the person who's throwing a party, and it's like a, oh, thank you for being here kind of a
Oh,
thing.
okay, like a party favor.
Party favors, I guess party
Recuerdo.
favors.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, recuerdos. It's almost like saying like remember,
Aw.
recuerdos, like remembers. So like when my family would have like quinceañeras, and they had like these big grand parties, like my mom would make the recuerdos, like the little party favors that everybody would get when they would go home. Sometimes it's a little bottle of like a bottle of bubbles or something, but she would decorate it, like put some lace on it and like little hearts and their name on it. Like I don't know, she was just so crafty. She would figure out a way to like to make things look beautiful, even though they were just like very simple things. Um, but I definitely think that like I kind of took after her when when it came to the craft stuff. And had I had this idea sooner, or when she was with me, I don't know like where we would be at, but I know that we would be probably even so much farther ahead because of her creativity.
Yeah, but this was like her vision to you and still a way that you could be close with her.
And I think that's why I take the business so personal too, because it's like it is, I guess it's my business, but because I feel like I wouldn't have started it without her, like without almost feeling like I had the blessing from her to start it to begin with.
Mhm.
It's just so personal to me. It's not just, oh, it's just a business and it's just to make some money. No, it's like this is how my mom is gonna like live on.
So how many people help set up the event? Is it just you and your husband?
Yeah, most of the time it's just us two. Um, but there is times when we get really busy or we're just like overbooked and I need help maybe blowing up balloons, or I do need help on the day transporting things or setting things up, and I'll call other girls who are in Vegas and they're local balloon artists, and
Mhm.
I'll just tell them like, hey, I have this project, it's at this location, and it's just a lot and I need like an extra set of hands. And I pay them and they're like cool with it, and they're like, yeah, I'll come help. And we kind of just like rally. And same for them, sometimes they'll message me and be like, hey, I need help with an event, like can you come help? And I'm like, yeah. Or some
Okay, boss babe. I love how you collaborate
yeah.
with other female, business balloon artist.
I feel like you have to. I feel like if you're not collaborating, then what is it worth? Because you're supposed to be building a community, right? Like we're here to help each other. And if you're not doing that, then I
I
mean,
love it.
that's fine, to each their own, but to me it just I want everybody to eat, you know? Like
Mhm.
I don't f- I don't feel any better like keeping my end of the pot and like I don't know, it doesn't make sense for me to be like, "Oh, I'm over here like I'm at the top and like you're beneath me or something." Like that's weird. To me that's weird. I don't like that.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that everybody that I work with feels like that they're important and that they matter because they do. And everybody has a life. Everybody has to take care of their themselves and they have families and like it's important to build that cuz like okay, what if your business dies at the end of the day? Like but you're still going to care for that other person because they helped you and you helped each other.
How have you grown with your business?
I think there's been a lot of growth like personally and business wise. Like personally for me at the beginning, I did a lot of it just to kind of drown out the noise and to stay busy to ignore all my feelings. And when I started off, I also had a 9 to 5. So I was working my 9 to 5 and doing the event stuff like on the weekends or like whenever I could like get a chance to do something for somebody and I burnt out like I think probably my second year. I felt like I was working at least two full-time jobs in like a week and it was insanity and I wouldn't sleep and I think after I burned out I had to like kind of step back and be like okay, I need to like weigh my options and figure out like what's better for me. Should I just stay at my 9 to 5 and like stop doing the balloon stuff so I can like rest on my days off or should I like just keep both, keep pushing along and like try to grind it out and get through it? Or do I leave my 9 to 5 and just keep the balloon business and like keep keep it on this road that I'm going where like I know that it's possible for me to just have my business and live off of that money and be okay. And when that time did come, like I had to ultimately choose my business. It just made more sense for me. And that allowed me to leave my 9 to 5. So that gave me a break where I couldn't make myself be busy all the time, so I had to like stop and start thinking about things. And with that, like I started, processing through my feelings and giving myself more time to like be open to self-care and take care of myself and go to therapy and that kind of stuff. So it's insane. Like I feel like I'm definitely not the same person I was when I started the business compared to who I am today. There's like oh it's been a world of a change.
That's good that you've seen growth. What kind of job did you do before you started your business?
Before I was working like a 9 to 5, I was a corporate girly. So I just did administrative assistant work for an agency and I I actually really liked the job. The job itself was not hard and I loved the people too, but it was just a little bit it became very dry because it was just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again and there was no like thinking outside the box, there was no creativity, there was no um there was nothing everything there was just like it was just black and white, like you do everything by the rules, by the books, like if you try to think of like a different way to do something they're like oh no no god no, like we've been doing this for 100 years like this and and we can't ruin it now. Like we have to just keep doing it like this. And I was like, okay, fine, So it was fine, but just doing the same. It was very mundane. I guess that's the word. It just became very mundane.
Mhm.
And I would like look around at one point and think like, I can retire from this place in 25 years, but like, do I want that? It just felt like this isn't where I'm supposed to be, or like I felt like I could do more.
And so that's when you decided to switch to the cups and then your balloon business?
Yeah, I think the cups kind of just came out of it came out from two things. It came out from boredom because I felt like I had so much time. I was very lucky. I had a really amazing job that was they were very flexible, and they allowed us to have 3 days off and work 4 days. So we would work 4 10-hour shifts, and then we had 3 days off all bundled together. So on my 3 days off, I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I get to kind of like enjoy life a little bit, but I was like bored most of the time. And I was like, well, what can I do with these 3 days? Like, 3 days is still, it feels like a part time job. Like, should I just go get a part time job somewhere? And I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like, let me just kind of create my own part time job. So that's when I started selling the cups on Etsy, and that kept me busy. But it was also because at that point in time, I think me and my husband collectively were about like 25. I think it was probably around $25,000 in debt. And we were trying to find a way of like,
Did you
how can
say
we?
25,000?
Yes, ma'am.
I just had sorry, I had to make sure.
Yes, ma'am. I did say we were $25,000 in debt.
Okay, I
And
just was it made like 2,500, 25,000. Okay,
it's
25,000.
25,000. Yes, girl, with three zeros. And we just, I don't know, we were in a place where we're kind of like, how are we going to get rid of this? Like, what do we do with this? Like, how we didn't like it hanging over our heads. We didn't like feeling like our money wasn't our money, because at the end of the day or the end of the week, like, we were giving a lot of it back to somebody else. So I mean, part of the boredom was like, okay, I have time, I'm bored, and I can start something to help us pay that down. So that's initially kind of like where it came from. Like, I wanted to intentionally pay down our debt, but also, make like another stream of income to kind of relieve my boredom too. So it just worked out for us that way. And once I did the cups for, I think, maybe like a year or two, and then that's when the whole thing came about for the balloon business, and we just kept going from there.
And how many years ago was that you started the balloon business?
The balloon business I started in 2021. So my mom passed away December 2020, and a month later, January 2021, is when I started it.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So she gave you that vision.
Oh, like right away.
Right.
Yeah.
That just oh my gosh, that gives me goosebumps.
I know, it's so hard to explain. It's the oddest thing, but like almost like the most beautiful oddest thing.
Hmm. So have you had any mentors or anybody that's supported you along this journey?
Um, I've I've met a lot of local balloon artists in Vegas, and everybody who I've met, like, they've been so kind and so generous, and everybody's like open to like helping each other and supporting each other. I don't feel like I have like a mentor. I feel like I have kind of like a small group of mentors, because like if I have a question about something, like, I know that I can message any of them and be like, "Hey, this didn't work for me today. Like, I don't know if like am I using the wrong glue, or like how come this didn't stick to this wall or whatever." And like I'll have answers. I'll get replies from them and be like, "Oh, try it this way," or, "Oh, maybe you didn't do this. Like, do that instead." Like, so it's it's nice to be able to have other people to like bounce ideas like back and forth, and kind of get like constructive criticism too. But it
I do
definitely.
love that.
Mhm.
It's really nice to have people in your community that support you, and if you have any questions, you're able to go back and forth with people that have been there before or that might know a little bit that can share and pull you up with them.
Yeah. And I love that, and I'm just so happy. Like, that's the way our community is, because I feel like sometimes not everybody gets that, and it's it sucks when you feel like you, and there's, I mean, there's other, I'm sure there's people out there, like, they gatekeep, or they don't want to like give away their secrets, or
Mhm.
their formulas and stuff like that. But like that's okay. You still have other people who want to help you, and like who want to support you, and like those are the people you want to be around.
Is there any advice you would like to give anyone that wants to start a balloon business?
Um I think definitely, if you're interested in starting a balloon business, I think creating or like having a schedule in mind, like, oh, okay, like I'm only gonna do events like Fridays and Saturdays, or like maybe just the weekend, Saturday, Sundays, or how, like however works for you, but like don't overwork yourself, and then don't underprice yourself, because there's so many girls who start and they try to like do these big price cuts, but then like once you look at your supplies and stuff like that, and like the time and the effort that it takes to do it, like you're not making anything, and you're going to burn yourself out, and you're going to be like, why am I even doing this to begin with? So I think like setting your boundaries, like time wise, because like nothing is more important than your time and your family. And then secondly, like price, but price accordingly. And if you're not sure about pricing, like don't be scared to talk to other people, because I mean, if you're charging 500 and this girl's charging 500, somebody's going to get paid 500, you know? Where
Mhm.
if like, yeah, if everybody's trying to like price gouge each other, it's just it's not good for the market, and it's not good for yourself, because then you're gonna have this reputation of being the cheapest. And yeah, people are gonna book you, but they're gonna book you to the point where you exhaust yourself. And
Mhm.
when you burn out and you're not making any money, like that's not a happy place to be in.
Mhm. It almost goes back to like working in a corporate where you're just getting used and abused.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't want that to be, you don't want that for you.
Let me see. I'm looking at the questions. Okay. What routines do you follow each day?
I dropped my phone. My bad.
No, it's all good.
Most of the time I'll wake up and then I'll have tea. I love chai tea.
Oh my gosh, I love chai tea.
I love chai tea. I always have it with like a little like cream and sugar.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, it's just so good. I like teas. And I'm not a caffeine girly, so I don't drink coffee. Um, it
Chai
kind of
has caffeine, no?
there is chai that has caffeine, but there's another one that's called like I don't even know how you say it, but it's like Ruby Roo, something like that. Rubios, I think it's
Mhm.
Ruby Rose, but that's like decaffeinated chai tea.
Oh, okay. So do
hmm
you drink decaf?
I don't like drinking like decaf coffee or anything that's like that might have like a lot of caffeine in it, because I feel like um I don't know, my body has this weird reaction to caffeine. And it's the oddest thing, because like I have been drinking coffee since I was like 15 years old. Like I loved coffee. Like
Mhm.
I would wake up and have like a cup or two or three of coffee
Mhm.
when I was young, all the way up until I was 27. And when I was 27, I started having like a weird reaction to anything that had caffeine in it. So I kind of had to like pull back and not drink coffee anymore, or like even like Coca-Cola, like things that have like a lot of caffeine, like no Red Bull, no Monster, none of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you wake up, you drink your chai tea.
Yeah, and then depending on what kind of like day it is, most of the time if my husband is with me in the morning, then like we'll make breakfast and we'll sit down and talk, just to kind of catch up with each other and see what we're up to for the week, like if we have any plans for the day. We'll take Archie out. I have a little dog. His name is Archie. Um, Maybe like probably take him out and go on a walk, and we'll come back home. Maybe make like lunch. If I have like work, then that's when I'm like jumping back on the computer and like answering emails or getting back to people's DMs, that kind of stuff. If I have events coming up, then I'm out in the streets at this point running errands, trying to pick up like any last minute balloons that I need, or any type of supplies that I might need from like Lowe's or Home Depot, because sometimes there's things that we have to build, and we use like wood for certain projects, or we'll use like EMT piping for certain projects. So it's just like a lot of like keeping on top of um, materials that we need, or sometimes like we have like marquee letters that we rent out as well. So if somebody needs letters, like I have to go pick them up and bring them home so that they're like ready to go the morning of. Something that I love the most is really being able to kind of control my schedule. I like that if I decide I want to take some time off, like I all I have to do is just make sure I don't schedule the events for that week or that month even. And I get to just spend time like with my family or doing things that I like to do. Thanksgiving, Christmas, like we don't mess around. Like everybody's crazy for it. So like thankfully like it makes all the work during the year worth it.
Yeah, it is really nice to be able to take the time to spend time with family. I think that's very important.
Mhm.
Yeah, being able to, especially because I have a little one, like there's so many moments that I don't want to miss. And I'm sure, like, with your nieces and nephews, it's important, to build those relationships with your family and build those bonds.
Definitely, definitely. And it's I don't know, I think once you kind of get a grasp of what's important to you, and with me going through the death of my mom, I had like this epiphany almost where I was like, okay, like nothing is more important than family. Like I won't I I can't picture myself being in a job where they're like, "Oh, you have to work Christmas." Like, no, absolutely not. Like I will quit. Like I can't. Like I have to spend the time with my family and make the most of it because we're not all guaranteed tomorrow and we have to make the most of it.
So, what is maybe some of the biggest learning experiences from running your business that you've learned?
There's so many hats to be worn when you're running your own business. Like the whole thing is a, a lifelong lesson that like does not stop. Um, Definitely, I think like having to learn like the back end of things and like having to be like your own admin, having to like keep track of like your like keeping track of like the payments and also like your costs of materials and stuff, like the money that you're spending on running the business, and then like of course tax season, when tax season comes around, it's so like ugh, nauseating to have to like
Mm-hmm.
deal with all of that. But it's an important part of the business and making sure that you're doing everything correctly. um
So did you create like your own business bank account and like do you have your own business credit card for all of your expenses?
so I actually I think it was I don't think I started off with an LLC. I think I was just a sole proprietorship,
Mm-hmm.
but a year into it I changed over to an LLC, so I filed um as a limited liability company,
Mm-hmm.
and then I opened my own business bank account. I have my business cards, and I started using that as a way to like track all of my expenses, and that was kind of something that I needed to do because I was mixing like the business money with like my own personal money, and that's kind of a no-no when it comes to to like taxes if you're
Mhm.
filing as a LLC. And those are just like things I didn't even think about at the beginning, that like, oh, I need to do this. I need to like have that in order. Like it just comes with like the experience, I guess, and like trying to figure out like where you want to take the business. And I knew I wanted to expand, so that was necessary. Also, even getting event planner insurance. I have insurance for the business, so just in case like any of my materials get damaged, or if somebody gets injured from something, like I'm covered by that.
Oh,
And
no. Get injured by a balloon?
So there's just things
Yo, actually, now
I
that I
never
think about
thought.
that, that's crazy to have insurance. I mean, I get it, like, you're building the set, but, like, it's mainly balloons.
Mhm.
The worst I could think of is somebody having, like, an allergy.
Right, right. Yeah, and surprisingly, I did have a client who
Was?
had she yes, yes, and
Did
I
she
was
know?
yes, she knew.
What was she doing? Rubbing her freaking cheeks on it?
No,
Or
no, 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 no. So we arrived, and like I started taking the balloons out of the bag to start building the design. And she was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna stand way over there." She's like, "Because I'm allergic to latex, and I can't be near the balloons." She's like, "But if you need me, or you need anything, just call me. Like
an
I'll."
EpiPen?
And
Be like, "Yeah, I need a EpiPen. Can you please keep it on standby, low key for yourself?" But
please. Yeah, and I was just like in disbelief. I was like, "Oh my God, you know that you're allergic to latex, and like but you still ordered balloons?" I was like, "That's ballsy." Like that's a little bit crazy, but I mean, anything for the party, like the party has to go on, I guess. But
Right, right.
I was like, "Geez, Louise!" Like, thankfully nothing went wrong, and she kept her distance and everything, and from what we know, everything went smooth. We got a good review and everything. So I don't think we had any issues. But yeah, that's kind of scary. Like or imagine somebody not knowing they're allergic to latex and they're rubbing on the balloons or something. Like yeah, I don't know. That feels like something of
Right.
like a freak accident or something.
Right, you have to put it as a disclaimer now, like, my balloons may contain latex. Please don't sue me."
Don't sue me. It's in the contract.
Right? Like, "Did you read the bold print? We didn't even make it fine, it's bold,
It's bold,
all caps,
underlined in red.
highlighted."
It's sometimes like funny things like that happen. A client
Right,
allergic to latex, or just somewhat like strange things, but nothing wild so far, thankfully. I don't know if I well, there was, I mean, I don't think it's wild, but there was one time that we did a baby shower, and um like we set it up in the morning, and they were like, "Oh, you can come back by," cuz I think it was on a Sunday. So like their baby shower was going to end kind of early, and they were like, "Oh, you can come back at like 6 p.m. and like take everything back down for the night, to like let everybody go home, yada yada." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like we'll be back." We left, everything like perfect, like all the balloons were up, and then we went home, and we come back at 6 p.m. and there's not one balloon in sight, not one. So these balloons, we had put eucalyptus leaves on them, and like little palm leaves,
mhm.
because it was like a tropical theme. But so when we came back, all these leaves and palm trees and stuff were on the floor, but there was not one single balloon like alive. And we were like, what the hell? Like, what happened? Where are all the balloons? And then we see like these kids running around, and they're like throwing the latex, like like the scraps of like the latex balloons, like at each other. And I
Oh,
was
so
just
they
like,
popped them.
they popped all the balloons, I guess. I guess, like the client was like, "Okay, party's over." Like I don't know. She just called and she was like, "Okay, the party's over. Like, if you guys want balloons or something." I don't know if she was like offering them to the
Uh-huh.
kids or something. But by the time we got back, there was not one balloon. Like the kids were like, "Oh yeah, party's over. Woo, let's pop the balloons."
They've been
And
eyeballing it all day, girl.
yeah, yeah. And they took advantage and they popped everything. So I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, let's work for us."
Right?
But it was just crazy. Like I've never seen it like just everything disappear like that before, where like the kids just completely completely took it down before we could even get back.
That is wild.
That, I guess that's one of my wild ones.
So do you pre-blow up the balloons before you go to an event, or do you just blow them all up there?
I like to pre-blow. So like I will blow up everything at my house,
Mhm.
and once like we put it all in a bag, and when we get to the event, I just have to like take it out and then build it. I think it for me it just saves so much time, but
I
there
mean,
are
would you have to make, like, multiple trips if you have, like, a ton of balloons?
not necessarily, because we I rent U-Hauls when we
Uh-huh.
do larger events, and they fit a lot of balloons.
Oh,
So
okay.
most of the time, like, geez, like I don't even know how to explain how much, but like if we have like a really really giant installation like with 4 balloons, like I can blow up as many as I need to at home, and then I just throw them in the U-Haul, and the U-Haul will get everything there. So I don't have to
Right.
like really worry about storing them so much at home, because I'll like get the U-Haul like the night before, just load it all up with the balloons that I need for the event, and then take that. But there has been times or like instances where it for some reason it didn't make sense to like pre-blow them up. So I've done somewhere like I've done the installs on property, but I need like a really long leeway. Like for sometimes for like expos or conventions in Vegas, they'll start like on Monday, but they let
Mhm.
everybody come in on Sunday to like set up their booths and stuff. So most of the time they're like, "Oh yeah, like you have all day Sunday to like to do the decor, or to like set up." So we'll be like, "Okay, like we'll just come at like 8 a.m. and like we'll blow up the balloons there, set everything up there, and then like leave. And then on Monday, like the expo starts and like everything's already in place and ready for them to go." And we do it like that sometimes because depending on the locations, sometimes you just can't drag around like these big, large bags of balloons. So it,
Right.
it just doesn't make sense, like logistically, to carry all this stuff into this venue if they don't like allow rolly carts, or they just sometimes you need like vendor badges and stuff like that, and they're like really heightened on security. So if I can just take like a bag of balloons where they're flat and they don't bother anybody, because it's not taking up space, then I can just walk in there, blow them up inside, attach them, and then like everything is good to go. And I have all the time that I need to set it up. Like there's no rush.
So what's the most amount of balloons that you've blown up for one event?
Oh man. Um jeez. Jeez. There I'm like really trying to think. I know there's definitely not a precise number, but there's a project that we did where for sure for sure we at least did like 2,000 balloons.
Oh my goodness. You'll have
And
to send me the picture to that one. I
I'll
have to
send it to
see
you.
what a 2,000 balloon setup looks like.
I mean, that had to be like the minimum. Like it had to be more, but it's just really like once you get to a certain point, like I have to stop counting or like I'll go insane. Like I just kind of like just do it, just build it up and like just let it be, like let it go cuz I don't know, if I sit there and kind of like try to count it all, it's like, oh, it's too much. It it feels like too much. It feels heavier than
Right?
what it is. And those are the
Okay.
events that like I need help with where I'm like, "Hey, I got to blow up a lot of balloons. Like, can you please help me with this?" And that's when like
Do you have,
you
like,
know,
an
other people would
automatic
come in.
balloon tire, or do you hand tie all those balloons?
I hand tie every balloon.
Oh my goodness. Do you get,
Yeah.
like how are your fingers? How are your hands?
Oh, they have calluses, girl. Yeah, I think I have to have the strongest
Oh my
fingers. I
goodness.
kid you not. Like I might not lift weights, but my fingers feel like they lift weights. Like I have some strong fingers. And I really did like I at the beginning, especially when I was doing like my because I was doing some like online teaching where people who
Uh-huh.
wanted to learn about the balloon business or like how to do
What?
certain
You didn't
things.
tell me this.
Yeah. So I was doing online Zoom calls. So sometimes it's people from other states or sometimes they were local in Vegas where they're like, "Oh, I want to learn how to do like balloons and start a business." So I would get like a little kit for them and I would mail it to them. And when they received their kit, we would jump on into a Zoom together and I would teach them how to blow them up, how to tie them together, and how to hang them to like do a balloon garland install. Um, and
Wow.
the thing that all of them, like literally every single one, every single person that I did a class for, they all would tell me the next day, "My fingers hurt so bad." And I was like, "Yeah, that's part of the
Oh my
that's part of the
goodness.
business. Like if you want to tie balloons, you need to have some strong fingers. And if you don't have them to begin with, like they will get stronger with time."
Are there, like, automatic balloon tires?
Not that I'm aware of. So I mean, that's something
Girl, you
that's
gotta invent one.
I guess I'm gonna have to now. I'm gonna have to now. So that's something that's missing in the
Patent
market.
it. Patent it right away.
That's yeah, that's missing in the market. So if anybody has the
Patent it before I drop this
ingenuity,
podcast.
an emergency patent.
Right.
God, and patents take years to do sometimes.
Oh, no.
God, but we'll try, girl. So no, we don't have an automatic tire. Um, we do have air pump machines, you know, to help. I can blow up like two
Right, so you
balloons
don't
at
pass out on
once.
the floor.
Yeah, because blowing up all those balloons like by mouth, hell no, that's not
Do
happening.
you? Do you have to
No,
sometimes?
I just use an air pump, like an electrical air pump, plug it
Uh-huh.
in, put the balloons on it, and it'll automatically fill them up with air, and then I tie them together. But yeah, no, there's almost no nothing that I know of that you know, there's nothing to get away not tying the balloons. Like that's something I feel like you have to do because you have to secure it and make sure that
Yeah.
it's not gonna like unravel and maybe you
I
could
know
make a
they
machine
do
that does
have,
that.
like, those kids' water balloon toys?
Mhm.
You fill it up with a hose, and then you can, like, pull them off the straw, and they tie them.
Mhm.
I don't really know how that works.
But
Right.
even if we use something like that to tie one balloon on itself, like we still have to tie two balloons together and then four and then six and then eight and then like you know what I'm saying? Like maybe the initial tie will could be in an automated tie, but then after that it'll still be like a hand manual thing that we would have to do to attach them to each other, if that makes any sense.
No, okay, that makes sense.
You know? It would save a lot of fingers because I think that really is, like, the number one, um,
Right. All the
complaint.
girls would be on that.
Mhm. Yeah, and you do like when I'm kind of just used to it by now, but there was one event where I like I'm telling you, I literally lost count of how many balloons we had. It had to be
Uh-huh.
a minimum of 2,000, but my hands were like throbbing the next day.
Oh
Like
my
like
goodness.
could feel my heartbeat in my hands because of
See,
like
I'm giving
how
you
much
the
they hurt.
vision. I'm giving you the vision. Let me just plant the seed for you to go make this. Girl, I'm for it. If anybody's listening to this, you heard it here first,
It
okay? It's
happened here.
it's patent in this podcast.
Mhm.
We be on you if we see it out there. Watch it be on Amazon already.
Oh God. We
I'm a
own
fool.
the
I'm a fool.
we own the intellectual rights to
Right.
the automatic balloon tire.
But if it's already out there, well,
Mm, you're not doing a good job of marketing it because
right?
I don't know
All these
anybody who
balloon
has it.
artists.
All these balloon artists and all these tired hands. Just saying.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I had. Like, I'll just share with you, like, I was going through depression pretty bad, and I created Kanaka of all trades because I really wanted a support group. And finding stuff like the Weld Her community and the Inspire Her community, it really helps
Mm.
connect with other women. And I'm like all for it. I'm like all for women supporting women.
Mhm.
And that's really why I created this podcast, like Kanaka of all trades. It means people of all trades. And yeah, I'm so glad that I got to meet you. And I'm glad I got to hear your story. And I'm so glad that, I'm able to share your story with everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the chance to do that because I mean, I think a lot of people don't really know. See, I said I just heard myself. But a lot of people really don't know how or why I got started. And at the beginning, a lot of people try to push me to I guess kind of like sell that or like you know present that to people, and I just felt like I couldn't. I felt like it was not the right time for me to like bring that up.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm glad that you did. I honestly, like, you are very talented, and I see it in your work. I see how much you put into it, and girl, I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. You're the
Yeah.
best, Brooklyn. Thank you.
And yeah, let's continue to support each other and uplift each other and be there for each other. And that's all this is all about, is just supporting one another through each other's journeys and being there for each other. And I really push that because I think it's really important to connect with one another, and especially getting to know, each other's stories and connect on a deeper level.
Yeah. And you're so brave too, Thank you for sharing that you were going through a hard time. I know that, going through depression is rough, and especially if you don't feel like you have a support system behind you, it's it feels like it's almost magnified when you're alone, but when you have other people with you, it makes it feel a little less heavy.
Yeah,
And,
I think it's
we're here
weird
for
that
you.
I didn't know that I really was. I was in denial about it. And I
Mhm.
think it wasn't really till like I had gotten out of it, I realized how deep into it I was and how I was isolating. Like, I don't really think I realized it.
Mhm.
But I think now that I'm surrounding myself with like minded women, it's changed a lot, and I've grown a lot, and I have people to look up to. And you are one of those people I look up to. And
Oh.
I see you doing these amazing things. And it's inspiring. It really is inspiring.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mahalo for tuning in. This is Wailana Wells with the Kanaka of All Trades podcast. This show highlights women and men in various hands-on trades, from entrepreneurs, community leaders, and hobbyists. Guest speakers will share their stories, and we'll learn about what sparked their interests, mentors that supported them along the way, struggles they've overcome, and advice for anyone wanting to join in on their trade. If you enjoy blue-collar work and want to hear more about people in the industry, follow our social medias at Kanaka of All Trades and at Wailana Wells. Mahalo!